We have another special guest on today, and it is my sister. I know I've talked about her before on different episodes, and so now we got to finally get to see her. And so I guess we'll just get started. So I'm Shea.
And I'm Bree. I'm sorry.
I did not ever say that she was a spaz, but here we go.
Just a little bit. Okay.
A bit of a spaz.
I'm sorry.
I love that you're excited. I love it. Okay. And this is Shea's Scare Lounge. And so today, my sister chose Night of the Living Dead. So,
yes.
And I know you watched the first one, and the original 1968, and the remake, the 1990 with Tony Todd.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So I actually really like this movie. Mm-hmm. I mean, I rewatched it, and I'm not a fan of a lot of the characters.
Oh, yes.
But I love the main character, Ben. He's like my favorite. Ben. I did like the young couple too.
Yeah, they weren't I feel like they could have had a little bit more written about them.
I feel bad that they got, well, for those who haven't seen the movie, so the movies, it starts out at a cemetery. Barbara and her brother James. What's his
name? Johnny.
Barbara and Johnny. So obvious. And they're putting flowers down at their dead father's grave, and then zombies just start appearing.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny dies. She runs off to a house and barricades herself in it. Randomly, Ben shows up because he was being chased by zombies, and chaos ensues, and they're just stuck in this like farmhouse or whatever. What I did think was interesting, because we've seen many zombie movies.
Yes.
This is not the original zombie movie. When I looked that up, that was something else, because I thought this was like the first, but it wasn't. They're not stupid in this movie.
No, they're not. So technically, the word zombie is nowhere in this film. And I think that they were very careful not to kind of label them as zombies, because in that time, a zombie was more of like a person in a trance, those types of qualities. So like in this movie, they are referred as ghouls.
Ghouls, yes.
Ghouls, yeah, which is kind of creepier, but they are smart zombies. This is like this is the movie of, dead coming to life. The pinnacle, this is where it begins, but they're smart, and it seems like through history they got dumber.
They got way dumber.
Yeah, but yeah, like
which I thought was really interesting, because like the first zombie you see, first of all, he's not slow, they're quick. I mean, they're not like 28 days later fast, but they move like average people. And to get a Barbara in the car, he gets a rock and he smashes the window. I was like, well, I don't remember the zombies being of intelligence. So that's interesting.
Yeah. And he comes back later in the movie. I don't know if you saw him, like he's within the horde and he's just like, I'm back. And you're just like, oh no, it's the smart one. Like, don't come for me.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are actually smart. I think that's really interesting. That they're not like, oh, we're dead, so now we're just dumb and we don't think.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to point out the elephant in the movie. So we know that it like I don't want to get too heavy into this, but I found it really interesting that so Ben, he is the hero of the film, right? Yes. And Barbara is this weak, pathetic little woman, and
she's worthless. Yes,
she's terrible. There's a scene where Barbara is Barbara, and she gets a little hysterical, like traditional crazy lady, and he slaps her.
That's not unheard of. That's how they handled hysteria. They're like smack her across the face and have her snap out of it.
And then for some reason she goes, like, she's already in shock, and she's
because her brother is dead, and something killed it.
She's kind of like trudging along, and then all the craziness comes forth, and she slaps him, he slaps her, and then she's like, oh, I've had enough. And then she's asleep on the couch for a long time. And then when she comes to, it's like she's not the same. She was already hysterical, but now she's even more gone. And so right away, like that character's not coming back. Like no matter what happens.
She's done. Yeah. When she's sitting there like messing with like the couch, like the linen on the couch, she's just like, I'm like, what is with the crazy lady? Okay.
But they also, I think they did a really George Romero, he did a really good job of not like, yes, she was annoying, but she played trauma really well for a small budget independent film. Like she played it pretty darn convincing. Like she's going through some shit right now.
So as we're in the house, it's Ben and it's Barbara, and Barbara's useless. And then all of a sudden we find like some people come out of the basement, and it's like a young kid, a young dude and his girlfriend. And then this like family, which is like this older dude, his wife, that they don't like each other. And then their kid who has been bitten by one of these things. And so the older gentleman, who's the husband of the family, he's just a dick through the entire movie. He's like trying to play off like, I'm here for my family. Why is it every movie has this character in it?
Yeah. Well, like you kind of need that guy, I think.
Do we? Because he's a douche.
You do, because I think you need to give the protagonist like an enemy that's not the monster. So it's like he is a monster, but he's not the obvious monster that
he's a human monster, which is actually worse probably than the zombies. Yeah. Because zombies are like, well, this is what we're doing. We're just gonna eat you now. And this guy is like, I'm gonna feed you to them because I'm a dick. It's like, thank you, guy. Yeah. So the kid, the young dude, the young couple, they're like, okay, we're gonna try to survive. We're gonna try to get out of here. And the dad of the family is just like the only one who's like, I'm not helpful. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do, and you guys all suck.
Yeah.
Where at one point they decide, okay, we're gonna get in this truck and we're going to go to the fuel station and we're going to pack everybody up, and then we're going to go to this town where there's like an emergency, whatever. And so the young kid and his girlfriend, because apparently she's like, nope, I'm not staying here by myself, I'm going with you. And Ben go to the fuel station, and they're having trouble getting the fuel. And Ben like shoots the lock off it, which I was like, why did that not explode? That just was fine. Okay, good. But then somehow we're spraying now fire all over the truck. And I think the kid gets in it to take the truck away so it doesn't explode right there next to the gasoline tank. Which is why, because I was like, for a minute, I was like, why is he driving the car? It's on fire.
Well, I don't think he noticed that the fire had already like attached to the back end of the truck. So they were going to drive away. But then he realized, oh, F, the freaking car's on fire. Let's get out of here. He gets out, but her seatbelt gets stuck.
Yeah, she got stuck. Yeah.
That's like, that was so tragic. So come on. Why did you buckle up? Why did you buckle up?
Right. Why are you buckling at this point? But I think it was like her sweater got caught on something in there. She's like, oh, my sweater. And it's like, why are you only going out of this vehicle? Why don't you go out your side? Why are you going out the driver's side?
That would have been much faster. Yeah. So stupid. So stupid.
And so they explode, and then the zombies come and eat whatever's left of their flesh.
See, this is where I have a question. Okay, so if these ghouls or these, creatures, they want to eat human flesh. Like, why all of a sudden are they okay with having their meal cooked? Like, I mean, don't they want raw, like fresh?
I don't know. I guess they're just going for any kind of
bite in.
We're just going for any kind of flesh. We're just going for whatever they can find.
They're not picky, right?
Right. They're not picky. They're like, we're just hungry. We prefer to eat it, fresh off the bone, but if it's charboiled, that's fine.
That's fine. Just a
And even
little.
then, it didn't even look like it because they were eating like just liver or something. I don't even know.
Yeah, it's gross.
One lady had like a turkey leg or something. I don't even understand.
No, like I remember the camera would pan to the ghouls or the zombies, and you would see them eating, and they're just like yum 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 yum, and you're like, and then one point some lady goes up to a tree and she's like, oh, look at this delicious bug, let me just eat this bug, and I'm just like, really, now we're coming for the bugs, come on, like there's still
any flesh, they're hungry, they're very hungry, they're going for any kind of flesh, human, insect, animal, they don't care. Yeah. So then Ben gets back to the house. And the dad of the family is not letting them in, and he busts in the door. I love that it did not take much for him to bust that door open. He's like, boom, I'm in. Okay, zombies are totally gonna how did the zombies not get in? Like, how? Because you just busted it down pretty easily, and then he shoots the dad, so I was like, yes.
Yeah, but then he gets shot
at the end. Which was actually, no, he didn't get shot in the middle. He did.
Yeah, they both shoot each other. His isn't so bad, but
obviously
he is like a little grazed. But yeah, he was just like, F you, like, I'm gonna I don't know. You're like waiting for that since they met. They started off on the wrong foot completely. So you just knew like they're gonna take each other out. Like,
well, somehow. I forgot that he kills him. He's just straight, just like, nope. Like, I'm just gonna kill you because you are a crappy human. So I did think that was cool. I was like, good, Ben, get rid of him. Should have done that to begin with, but whatever.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about, I think a part that like gets really overlooked, and I even completely forgot about it, was that the whole movie, I think we're so caught up in the social commentary of it that you completely forget that they do talk about how this, or how their theory of how this could have happened.
Right. Radiation from the satellite. Yeah.
Yeah. They're saying like, hey, NASA is like all over this. We know what's happening. It's radiation from the Venus probe or whatever the hell that is. I'm sorry, I'm not a scientist. But you're just like, oh, you're enthralled in the little scene where you're panned to the TV. You're enthralled with them, and you're just like eating any kind of information that you could get. But I thought that was so interesting that, okay, well, that's how you're explaining that. That makes sense. But you completely forget all about it just because of all the other stuff that's happening.
Oh, yeah. And well, I think also we're so used to modern day zombie movies where they don't explain how it happened.
Oh yeah. Or it's always like a rabid creature. It's like something went wrong.
Right. We don't know. And we're not going to tell you because it's too much time to think about it. And then someone's going to come back at us. So we just, we don't know. So, but this one actually gave a reason of what happened. And they're like, oh yeah. And I love the mob. Like at the end, they're just like, yeah, no big deal. We'll just take them down.
I know, right?
I'm like, were there not that many?
You're terrible. Oh my gosh. That is like sad because you didn't see any kind of like real legitimate armed forces come through. And if this was such pandemonium, you would have thought like, hey, where's the National Guard? Like, let's
right. There was no military. It was just like a bunch of good old boys with shotguns.
Yes. Good old boys just coming in.
So we got this. We're just town folk. We got
it. Oh my gosh. It's so silly. So silly.
So yeah,
go ahead.
I think the most tragic thing is the ending.
I know.
I'm like you're with this dude the entire time. You're like, yeah, he's surviving, and he's the last survivor, because then in the basement, the little girl who got bit turns into a zombie and eats her mother because people are dumb in 1968.
What took her so long to turn? Everybody else seemed to be like, oh no, it looked at me, I'm a zombie. And then it's like,
I don't know. I guess it took her a long time to die.
Yeah.
Because, she gets sick and then she's just laying there. And I don't know.
And she was so murderous. So it wasn't even like, I got to kill you first and then I'm going to eat you.
Yes.
Mom. Love you, Mom.
Sorry, Mom.
I'm going to get back on while he's down here while I wait for you. Oh, that was terrifying.
And then at the very end, so the mob comes, they're like, we're going to check out this farmhouse and see if and they see movement inside, and it's Ben because he barricaded himself in the basement, and he hears the shooting and he hears people, and he's like, oh, they're coming to rescue me.
Yeah.
And he walks out there and they shoot him in the head, and they don't even know that he wasn't a zombie.
Yeah, I know. I think that part, that's where like you're like, oh shit. Like this just got real a little too quick for me.
You're like, oh.
Did you know that the actor who plays Ben, his name is Dwayne Jones,
Right.
he didn't fight, but like he argued his way with the writers of the film to keep that as the ending.
Yeah, because they were
originally-
going to do a happier ending.
Yeah, like he was
But he was like, no.
Yeah. That's so, oh my gosh. Can you even imagine like at that time to have the wherewithal to know that this movie's going to speak volumes? That's so
That was very interesting.
very interesting. Oh my goodness. Such a good movie. And you know
It
what's
is.
sad about this movie is like, I mean, it other than the premise, it's fucked up, but like, did you know that George Romero, he barely made any movie, he didn't make any money off this film. Like no money. None of it went to him.
Because they messed up with the copyrights.
I know.
Because when they
find details.
they'll find details, they produced it and they were going to call it the Night of the Flesh Eaters, but there was already something called Flesh Eaters.
Okay.
So they went to like court and they're like, nope, you can't use that name. But they didn't change it in the copyright paperwork. So this movie is free for the public. And they never changed it. But they did think that because, George Romero and all of them had a hand in the 1990 version.
Yeah.
And they thought that they could fix the copyright detail with that one. But it never did.
Yeah. And it didn't make as much. And I think people were like, don't mess with the original. But also like, please watch this so that I can make some money.
And so you said you watched both of them. So I didn't get a chance to see the 1990 one, which is sad because I love Tony Todd. Which is funny that I didn't really realize that he was in the 1990 version. If you look up Night of the Living Dead cast, he pops up in the original 1968. Like I was like,
even alive then?
No, I don't know. He may have been born. I don't know. But I'm just like, why does it say Tony Todd's in this movie? Who is he in this movie? And so what are the differences? Because me and Shaylin watched Psycho, the old and the new version, and they're exactly they're the same movie.
Yeah.
Dialogue and everything. So how different was this movie?
There are a few differences. I mean, like big picture, it's same thing. Brother and sister. Like, I mean, like the differences are they're small details. So instead of them going to visit their father, it's they're visiting their mother.
Okay.
And instead, and like I think the way that he dies is so much cooler. There's a few jump scares added in. Obviously the biggest difference is the hero. Ben is still like the main hero, but I think that Tom Savini and George decided to rewrite the female, because I don't think that you could get away with such an annoying character as a female lead in the 90s, because there's such a feminist movement. So they really worked on that character and developed her into becoming this kind of like tough badass. Like, yeah, she has some moments that you're just like, just like, can you not? But overall, she really develops. She really does. Like, she goes and she gets her some pants and she gets her some boots, and she's just like, you see her physical costume change, if you will. And it's really, it's the development of her character that she has to become resilient. She has to be tough, and she's got to make it through this. And so the ending of this film, it's okay. She lives. Spoiler alert.
Oh, okay.
She makes it out. She does. I think it's sometime after the explosion with Judy and Tommy. She ends up making it out, and she like fights her way through. The next day they go and she checks on that farmhouse because she wants to check on her friend, who we know has barricaded himself inside of the basement, but we know that he's injured. And so when they go in, after her saying, hey, someone's in the basement, they go in, the door opens and Tony Todd comes out and he's a zombie.
Oh,
They shoot him in
okay.
the head and she's just like, she shoots him. I think she shoots him. I could be wrong. I'm so sorry. I should have written that down. But anyway, she's sad about it. And so like there are those differences. Obviously the makeup is amazing and so much.
Well, clearly, obviously, it's going to be better than the 1968 version where they were just like put some stuff on their eyes and make them go crazy. How many zombie children do you want to give this one?
I will give it 4.5 zombie children.
Oh, okay.
Just because for the time, that's a freaking great movie. It doesn't necessarily stand up today because it's so old, but the premise and it spawned.
I kind of feel it still does. I mean, other than obviously some of the makeup and the graphics, and
that's what I mean. Yeah.
And that I still think you can get, you could dive into the story and still get like immersed into it. So I mean, because some of the older movies, you're like, I cannot wrap my head around this to enjoy. Like I can't get into it at all. But I think this one, you're like, nope, I've gotten into these characters and I feel like I'm there, even though the makeup and the zombies are.
It's like it starts like it just 5 minutes in and you're off to the races. That's what I love about this. Because movies from that time, so many of them take such a long time to build the story. And so you're stuck with like 40 minutes of dialogue and then something happens. But it's this one, it's like, oh, they're coming to get you, Barbara. And then they're there. They're right in your face. Like,
yes. Yeah. There wasn't much going on there. It was like, nope, let's go. Here we go. Yeah, I do like that.
And then it spawned so many
movies after. Yes. Okay, I think I'm going to give it 4 zombie children.
Okay.
4 zombie. Because it is a classic. And it is something that's very like, obviously people still use "They're coming to get you, Barbara" as a quote from the movie, or just like, it's just so iconic. And it is so heartbreaking at the end when Ben dies and you're like, oh, I was hoping he'd walk away from that.
So close.
you waited, you were so close, and then they were like, nope, through the window, I saw something move. Like, I'm just like, oh,
yeah.
You couldn't wait until they were in the house and you'd be like, hey, help me, I'm in here.
I know, right? That's what I was like. I would have been like, anybody there? Hello, where's my white flag?
I'm a real human.
I'm a human. I can talk. I know so many bitches were smart, but they can't talk like me.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, so close. That one. And when because I forgot all about the ending. And I rewatched it like a couple years ago, and I was just like, oh, I am so like gutted for like, that ending. And I was just like,
I know.
Like, it's just so heartbreaking. Don't be a weak bitch. Let's go. So yeah, that's my favorite.
Okay.
So follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, like, subscribe, share, do all the things. And until next time, bye. Sorry, I need to not look dead, so.
That's okay. Well, you know what? You would have been on theme.
I know.
I don't think you looked dead, but I think you would have looked on theme.